A left-hand shooter that really plays the right wing side, just let go with that puck after he had gotten a pass from Daryl Sutter out of the corner, and as a result, Steve Larmer finally gets on the scoreboard in this series, something that Savard, Larmer, and Secord have been unable to do after 2 games against Edmonton.
And the Blackhawks certainly getting some indicators tonight that things may be better. They have to feel somebody up there likes them after Randy Gregg, the defenseman of the Oilers, walked all the way in, deked Bannerman out. The goal was wide open. Even Gary Green would have put it in, but this time Randy Gregg did not. Is that an indicator to you of something of what's to come, perhaps?
Well, I think it is. Number one, if you get good goaltending, you're off to a pretty big start. And Murray Bannerman in this first period of play has just played as well as any goaltender can be ever expect to play. But there's 40 minutes left, and against the Edmonton Oilers, Al, they are not the least bit concerned about a 2-0 deficit. This Edmonton Oilers team, they don't really get too upset when they're losing 2-0 with only 5 or 6 minutes to go in a hockey game, let alone with 40 minutes yet to go. The Edmonton Oilers won't change their game plan too much.
Well, it was not all good for the Chicago Blackhawks in that first period when Bill Gardner took a wicked shot from Pozar of the Oilers and went down. And the report right now, Gardner's suffering a severely twisted left knee. So he is out for the rest of the game, and you heard the concern of Troy Murray saying that he hopes he could come back in this series. Taking a look at the scoreboard, the other game tonight in the NHL, the Wales Conference Final in Philadelphia. The Flyers lead the Quebec Nordiques by the score of 3-2. That's in the second period. Philadelphia and Quebec all knotted up at 1 game apiece after they split the first 2 in Quebec City.
Well, here in Chicago, there are still 15 seconds remaining on Mike Krushelnyski's penalty for the Edmonton Oilers, and so that'll give the Blackhawks, if they can win the opening faceoff, an opportunity at least to get that puck into Edmonton's end zone, but not much time to set up.
The shots on goal in the first period, Chicago had 10 and Edmonton had 9. The last 3 seasons, the Blackhawks have won only 2 games against the Oilers in 15 tries. And to survive this series, they have to now win 4 the next 5 games. And the key, of course, Murray Bannerman, who scrapes the ice and gets comfortable in his crease. As you see his bird's eye view of the ice. And he has stopped the Oilers cold. Brand Fuhr, who comes in with a 2.61 goal average in his 9 playoff games and his 9 victories, struck for 2 goals in the first period of play.
Al, I think a lot of the Oilers' success against the Chicago Blackhawks is the fact that the Blackhawks like to play a very similar style as the Edmonton Oilers, and it's tough beating the best at their own game.
So power play for 15 seconds for the Blackhawks, and there is Troy Murray looking to set it up, and Murray takes it from Fraser and hits in. He passes in front. What a save by Fuhr! As Olczyk with a tip, the net looked barren, but Fuhr out of nowhere slides and got it with a stick. Sensational save by Fuhr. Nothing better than that to pick up the Oilers here to start the second period as the penalty is over and the teams are at equal strength. It's Gretzky, Curry, and Krushelnyski. With Krushelnyski, a 43-goal scorer, carrying the puck. Coffey goes in deep and takes a rap from Bob Murray. And now the Blackhawks, Olczyk, one-on-one with Huddy back. Olczyk comes in, saved by Fuhr. 2 big saves by Fuhr in the opening minute. And here's Gretzky squeezing through and never getting the shot off.
Good coverage by number 6, Bob Murray, on that play on Gretzky.
Coffey out to Huddy, pulls the trigger. Kicked out by Bannerman. Yari Curry, he rolls it in front. And it is stopped by the defense. Curry steals, and it's slapped out of danger. What a start for the second period. A minute and a half gone by. 2-0 Chicago. Messier flying. Backhand. As Secord takes it off the boards for Patterson. Patterson lets it go. And this one floats high off the glass. Larry Melnick with Messier winding up deep in his zone. Messier over the red line, over the blue line. And the Oilers go in nothing.
Well, I think Grant Fuhr heard us talking so much about Murray Bannerman that he decided he was going to have to outplay Bannerman himself. Right into the start of the second period, Ed Olczyk with just an excellent opportunity. He had 2 great chances in this second period so far. Fuhr just doing the splits and coming up with a magnificent save. Grant Fuhr, folks, he has been a big reason why the Edmonton Oilers are this far. They are a great hockey club, but you can't be a great hockey club without great goaltending.
What made that save even more difficult is Fuhr was out and had the weight on his right leg and had to come back to his left. Here's Anderson, wrist shot, and it goes wide. Gregg shoots it behind. Anderson out to Messier. He has a man at the point as he gets dumped. Melnick, his slapper, and it's tipped wide. You saw the change of direction on that shot. Napier. Messier in front. He has Anderson, but it's broken up by O'Callaghan. It's still loose in front and cleared by Chicago. 2-on-2. Laziak with Secord. Here's Secord. Backhand. Kicked out. Rebound. Shot. Glove by Fuhr, and then it ricochets wide. The heat is on around Grant Fuhr in the Edmonton goal. 3 minutes into the second period. Hunter to Lindstrom. And that bullet goes wide. McClellan keeps it in as he and DuPont bump. And here's Chicago again. Savard leading the charge. Drops it to Sutter. In front, DuPont. Savard wraps at it. As Fuhr gets over in the nick of time. McClellan kicked out. Rebound cleared at Chicago on the fly. Savard cuts to the slot. Still with the puck. In front. Save. Rebound. In the crease. Still loose. Smothered. Ben Wilson fires. Incredible action. O'Callaghan swings and misses, and finally it's out of the zone. Now Lindstrom the other way. His slapper. Gloved by Bannerman. As the players go to the bench looking for the line change. Here's Savard dancing in. Coffey chasing for it. Paul Coffey with the moves, cross ice, poke checked away. And racing back is Huddy with 2 Blackhawks on his back. 4.5 minutes into the second period. It has been non-stop as the crowd responds. The players say, finally, there's a whistle. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs only on USA Sports.
Been a busy man at the Edmonton end as the Chicago Blackhawks have just been swarming all around him. Grant Fuhr is down. Jack O'Callaghan, number 5 for the Blackhawks, he's in there. Larmer was trying to get a whack at it. So was Daryl Sutter. Jack O'Callaghan lost his helmet earlier, and he just stayed right in there. I've never seen end-to-end hockey, I don't think, like that in a long, long time. Fire wagon hockey.
Fuhr in those 4.5 minutes, I think, saw more action than this whole series. As the Blackhawks hold a 2-0 lead. This is Ed Olczyk, who shoots it in. As Curry gets it out to Coffey. Here is Coffey with some room, where he is most dangerous. But Semenko was in offside. So the Oilers unable to get on track as they trail by 2.
Now the bearded tough guy for the Edmonton Oilers just could not straddle that blue line long enough as Paul Coffey held on to the puck and held on to it. Finally, Semenko went offside, but Paul Coffey once again was looking to try and work the puck into the Chicago end zone, and then he could take charge of it. Semenko's job usually, once the puck is over the blue, is to head straight for Murray Bannerman.
5 minutes to go. So before you may have caught the clock click down from 15:03 to 15:02 before the puck was dropped. So we just lost a second. Gretzky will face off against Olczyk. Charlie Huddy, cross ice to Coffey. And it ricochets off of Bob Murray and into the crowd. The big crowd out here at the Chicago Stadium, Gary, trying to support the Hawks as they lose the first 2 games in Edmonton, the Glenn Sather's Oilers.
Bob Murray, who just stopped that shot of Paul Coffey, he's not in the greatest condition coming into tonight's game either. He's going over for a rest right now. I think Bob Murray's having a tough time getting his win because he has got a strep throat.
Well, perhaps
so that's made it that much more difficult when you go for the Blackhawks when you've got Wilson and Keith Brown out and Bob Murray not feeling the greatest.
Well, perhaps the reason he is playing against Gary is so that he breathes on the Oilers. Could help the Blackhawks out if the series goes longer.
We'll just remind you that this game is authorized under television rights granted by the National Hockey League, is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Hockey League is strictly prohibited. That's what I needed, a little pipe organ behind that to make this very dull, boring disclaimer sound interesting.
I thought it sounded beautiful. 14:50 left in this second period. These 2 teams will go at it again Sunday night right here as the Blackhawks trying to show the Oilers that they are indeed still alive. The Oilers incredible against the Norris division this year as Huddy's long shot kicked out by Bannerman in 15 games against the Norris division. They are 14-0-1 are the Oilers. A 1 tie to Toronto during the regular season. All right, the Oilers now looking to set up. And it is Curry, the long shot. And that puck dipped on Bannerman. Semenko crashes into the boards, and then O'Callaghan, or rather DuPont, skates over it. Troy Murray clears it out as Coffey back skating in his own zone. Here is Coffey with some room. He fires, smothered by Bob Murphy, who really felt that one. Fraser comes out, and he is toppled over by Gregg. So Murray may have more than strep throat right now as he heads to the bench. Coffey back to Hunter, blocked by the defense. Here is Curry, smothered by Bannerman. With the score, Chicago 2 and Edmonton nothing. We'll be back to the Chicago Stadium right after this.
Bannerman making some saves, but so has his defense in front. Bob Murray stopped that shot of Paul Coffey's, and I think he limped off to the bench right after that. Bannerman is getting some help from his defense, like stopping a few shots tonight.
If the Oilers come back, no question, Fuhr will star, but here is Savard breaking in. Fake shoots. Ben Wilson fires. Fuhr got it. He has even topped himself. It was way out of the net, and coming back in as Ben Wilson rifled the bullet shot, and Fuhr got there just in the nick of time.
Fuhr has been unbelievable. Both goaltenders have, but here Fuhr just stands up, and you can see him doing the big long stretch there. He just had to cover the angle that much longer, but he had to get right back up, and on the ultra slow-mo you can see that considering the fact that that is, folks, an ultra slow-mo, you realize how fast Grant Fuhr was actually moving to get from his left back to his right, and Dennis Savard having a difficult time trying to put that puck in the net tonight.
Well, he deked Fuhr, but did not have enough net left. From the face-off, kicked out by Fuhr. 2-0. The lead for Chicago, as I was saying. If the Oilers come back, credit Fuhr for the comeback. This easily could have been 4-5-0 right now. Here's Messier, wrist shot. And that was one of the easier saves of the night. Lysiak goes cross ice to Secord, who has been placed on this line, with Sutter moved up with Savard and Larmer. 12 minutes, 50 seconds to go in this second period. There's been no scoring, but we have not missed any excitement here. Lowe goes cross ice. And now it is Anderson, who has been the Chicago killer all season long. He had 6 goals in 3 games in the regular season. Has 4 in the 2 in the playoffs. Messier. And DuPont clears it out. Kept in by Lowe. He shoots it in front. And it's taken on the hop by Bannerman. Anderson has Napier lurking in front. Low. And it comes out the other side. Congestion in front. Anderson wrapped by Lysiak. And Bannerman goes high to clutch that puck. And some frustration now on the part of the Oilers.
Well, no doubt the Oilers are starting to get a little bit frustrated because Murray Bannerman has just been awesome in the net tonight. You can see right now that Rick Patterson, number 26, was doing a little bit of arguing, and he's standing right in front of Murray Bannerman, and John Ziegler is even standing right now, the president of the National Hockey League, here in attendance at the Chicago Stadium. He can't believe the action he's seeing either here. Well, Pulford facing behind the bench. Just off the Pulford's left is Roger Nielsen, who through most of the season has been upstairs in the press box, but Nielsen was down behind the bench in game number 2.
12 minutes left in the second period. 2-0. The Blackhawks lead the Edmonton Oilers. Clearing pass as Sutter has to turn back. Pozar digging for it along the boards with Krushelnyski as O'Callaghan kneels on the puck and gets the whistle.
Krushelnyski has not seen the action on the left wing side with Jari Kurri and Wayne Gretzky. That's how the season started out. Mike Krushelnyski was playing extremely well. The big center iceman, left winger, number 26. Mike Krushelnyski has been more or less demoted in the last part of the season. He's played with a number of different Oilers, and tonight finds himself at center and at left wing at times, playing with a variety of Edmonton Oilers players.
Krushelnyski had 43 goals in the regular season. Most of that time on the wing for Gretzky and Kurri. Has 2 goals in the playoffs. Dennis Savard trying to line things up. O'Callaghan beats the Oilers to the puck and will go again.
You can see Bob Pulford's strategy here, of course, with Krushelnyski and Pozar and Hughes out on the ice for the Edmonton Oilers. Then Pulford comes out with his biggest scoring combination, and that is Dennis Savard. So maybe Savard might be able to get a little bit more room out here playing against Edmonton's fourth line.
He's looking for his first goal in this series. Ben Wilson, not much time to take a look. Goes back the other way. Sutter is checked. And it is Krushelnyski who cruises back for it. On the left wing to Pozar. Krushelnyski with that long reach, gathers it in. Pozar cuts right in, kick save, rebound, save Bannerman. Coffey runs it down. He fires, and it's off the skate of Sutter. So 2 shots, bang, bang, and Bannerman was there. 11 minutes left in the second period.
This Edmonton's fourth line giving Chicago a lot more trouble than they expected.
Savard swings at it and puts it in the crowd. For our local systems, we'll pause now. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs live only on USA Sports.
The 9/800 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Murray Bannerman facing the Edmonton Oilers.
Krushelnyski dropping the pass back to number 10, Pozar, and Pozar doesn't just get one chance, he gets this rebound as well. Could not get that puck up and over Murray Bannerman's head.
The Oilers in their last 3 games have been averaging 9 goals a game. They've been blanked so far. And we are halfway through this one. Gretzky from the point. Puts on the moves. Goes cross ice. Kurri to Melnyk. He shoots. Not cleared out. Gregg fires. And it's deflected in front.
Now, we haven't really talked a great deal about another one of Bob Pulford's points in his game plan tonight, and that was for number 19, Troy Murray, to be all over top of Wayne Gretzky every place he goes, and that was quite evident in period number 1, and in the second period so far it has continued to stay that way. on this last shift, Wayne Gretzky could not get any room whatsoever. That was because number 19, Troy Murray, was all over top of him, and that's got to frustrate Wayne Gretzky, because Gretzky, I shouldn't say that it frustrates him. It frustrates him every single night when players are all over top of him, but on nights when he feels things are really going his way, he doesn't like that coverage, but he can usually get away from it.
Gretzky, and there is Murray on top of him. Gretzky chases it down. Right in front, Curry. Melnick can't keep it in.
Well, all of a sudden the pace has slowed down a little bit, Al, over the course of this last 3 or 4 minutes. And after we got off to such a great start in the second period, you've got to wonder whether these teams are just getting a little bit tired. First period was end-to-end action. The second period has started out that way until the last few minutes, and then all of a sudden a lot of play in the neutral ice area.
And remember, this is an injured Chicago Blackhawk club, still without their defensive pair of Doug Wilson and Keith Brown, and their very valuable role player, Bill Gardner, severely twisted his knee in the first period. Chasing forward, Olczyk beats Coffey. No! The linesman, Ray Scapanello, says no, and it'll be instead an icing on the Blackhawks.
Olczyk really hustled back hard. He thought he got to that puck before Paul Coffey, but linesman Ray Scapanello right there on the scene, and so he whistles it. Watch. We will see whether or not Scampanello's eyes are as good as he believes them to be.
Tough to see who poked at that puck. But if Scapanello was back there and blew it down, we would suspect it was Coffey who got the stick in there, although Olczyk seemed to get the inside track with the body. He was 16 years old when he played for the United States Olympic team. Now at the age of 18, starring in his hometown of Chicago, Ed Olczyk. Messier for Edmonton sneaks in there against Lysiak, and he is asked to leave.
Well, asked very nicely, of course. Messier leaving the faceoff circle, and Al Secord, number 20 for the Blackhawks, is on the ice. That has continued since the start of the first period.
So now Glenn Anderson steps in. The puck dropped, and Murray sweeps it aside. What a game Bob Murray has played in the defense of the Blackhawks tonight. Lysiak turned around, and now Napier works it back to his defense. We have 9.5 minutes to go in this second period. The Blackhawks owning a 2-0 lead. The goal scored in the first period by O'Callaghan and Larmer.
Well, once again, we've got another offside here. Slows the pace down a little bit more.
The place to stay for exclusive coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs is USA. Stadium. It's the Oilers winding out. Messier. And it's blocked another shot off the body of Bob Murray.
Now, Bob Murray has been playing the Oilers very closely out there tonight, not giving them much room at all. And Mark Messier, of course, is someone that Bob Murray needs to play extremely close. The Blackhawk bench, Bob Fulford and Roger Nielsen behind it. Fulford doing the pacing, and Roger Nielsen with that headset on. He will be discussing matters throughout the course of the game with assistant coach Cliff Corral, who is upstairs high above us even.
And the Chicago crowd. You see a Sox t-shirt, but now it is hockey night in Chicago. And the crowd feels that they've been the 7th man on the ice for the Blackhawks tonight. 2-0, the Hawks lead. After giving up 18 goals in the first 2 games in Edmonton to trail the series 2 games to nothing. The steal by Melnick. He has help. Krushelnyski in front. Pozar scores! The Blackhawks with a bad giveaway. And 2 of the Oilers come in all alone on Bannerman.
Well, young defenseman number 2, Mark Bergevin, for the Blackhawks, gave up that puck, and Ben Wilson really wasn't in a coverage position to back him up. He was standing way off into the corner. Krushelnyski, number 26, just a nice little pass here to number 10, Jaroslav Pozar, who really has played a pretty good game tonight. He has been one that hasn't played a great deal through the season, has been inserted into the lineup.
Only his 5th playoff game and his first goal. And here are the Oilers on the attack as they bounce back to within 1. 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second period. Pozar, and he's the man who hit and put Bill Gardner out of commission in the first period. Shot in by the Oilers. The crowd encouraging their Hawks as Sutter takes a swing at it. And an infraction against the Blackhawks.
Well, let's take a look at that shot on the ultra slow-mo replay, and you can see exactly how it was set up by number 26, Mike Krushelnyski. He goes to the backhand, passes it over to Pozar, and Pozar just taps that puck right by Murray Bannerman. Pozar from Krushelnyski. 11:14 was the time. The Blackhawks have slowed down a little bit. 7 or 8 minutes to play. They have got to pick up the momentum again. You cannot give these Oilers anything.
Pozar had only 4 goals during the regular season, played 33 games. And now the Oilers come on with Gretzky and Curry, along with Semenko. We're checked that they now have Dave Hunter on the wing, looking to tie it up. 7.5 left. Second period as Hunter slaps it in. DuPont goes back for it. Curry as Bannerman able to squeeze it between his pads, saying, hey, I didn't need that.
All of a sudden, some defensive lapses for the Blackhawks. Number 25, Jerome DuPont, gave up that puck. Almost went in to the net off of Murray Bannerman's skates, and that's been a few giveaways now by the Blackhawks defense in the second period. Let's take a look at it, and we will see in slow-mo the fact that Bannerman went back, played the puck. Now watch, number 25, DuPont comes in, picks it up, and then just did not have good control of it at all. As I believe it was Yari Curry took a swipe at that puck. That puck almost ended up behind Bannerman.
Well, a question of whether the Blackhawk defensemen are starting to get tired. The Oilers have been throwing that puck in. A lot of shots blocked by the Hawks defense. And they've been playing basically with 4 defensemen all game. Chopping at it in the corner. Anderson trying to pry it loose. Lysiak gets the skates up there and gets the face-off with 7 minutes, 8 seconds left in the second period. For our local systems, we'll pause now. You're watching the Stanley Cup Playoffs live on USA. Changing in this one.
I think one of the big reasons the tempo has switched over to the Oilers is the fact that the Chicago Blackhawks have stopped hitting. And as soon as they stop hitting, well, that's taking away from what Bob Pulford intended them to do out here tonight. Slow the Oilers down, take away some of their offensive chances by taking the body.
Well, perhaps they have, taking a boxing term, punched themselves out. Here is Patterson being watched by Lowe. Right in front of Callahan. Backhand. Secord takes it out. And it is smothered by Lowe, who was hurt by that shot and just by instinct able to carry it further. Messier. He is smothered, and Patterson back the other way. He has Lysiak. Poke check. Wilson picks it up. He goes in. Fires. Oh, as it breaks off the post.
Good chance for number 23, Ben Wilson, who has had some defensive lapses himself tonight. But as Al Albert has indicated earlier, has scored a fair number of goals here in playoffs so far. 4 to be exact, and it could have been his 5th coming up. Watch as Ben Wilson just winds up, blasts that puck, and it caught the short side on Grant Fuhr, went off the post. And you could hear the clink all the way up to the top of Chicago Stadium. Grant Fuhr was a little bit lucky on that one. On the other hand, when you are playing well, goal posts and crossbars are all part of your game.
2-1 the score. Chicago leads Edmonton. On that Edmonton goal, they have also added an assist to Larry Melnick. We have 6.5 minutes to go in this second period. The face-off to the right of Fuhr, who has been sensational in this second period. Savard taking the draw for Chicago. And Krushelnyski will take it for the Oilers. Ray Scapinello, the linesman, directing traffic as you zoom in close on the faceoff.
Pat Hughes trying to cheat a little bit so he can get through to DuPont.
Murray stays with it right in front. As Sutter really giving Randy Gregg problems in the crease. Here's Gretzky cutting in. Offside.
That's the way the game has gone. No sooner had Chicago finished with their chance to score than Wayne Gretzky broke out. Fortunately for the Chicago Blackhawks, Gretzky was offside in the play. You've got to watch Gretzky up the middle ice area, along the boards, where oftentimes he is cheating way up front. Here's the near miss. And you can see that Bob Murray really threw that puck a little bit aimlessly away, but yet on the second chance by the Blackhawks, that just went wide of Grant Fuhr, was headed for the low side, just below his glove, and then it came right back to Wayne Gretzky.
Early in the season, when Bob Pulford took over, he was trying to get his defenseman to get that shot on net, as Bannerman easily sticks that one out. And you saw if Murray's shot had rolled on net, may have been in. Troy Murray cranks it out. Pass to Savard. He fires! And Fuhr got a piece of that one. Fuhr coming way out to cut the angle on a speeding Savard. Here's Savard again. Troy Murray hacks at the puck. So does Fuhr. And Fuhr can't keep it tracked. The wraparound, and they score! Sutter!
to Dennis Savard. As so often happens then, Sutter, after making one good play, ends up getting right into it. Watch Sutter. He comes around behind the net. He's trying to tuck it in. And you could see what a great camera angle. He did tuck that puck in. There was just a little bit of room underneath of Grant Fuhr's skate. You can't get much better of a camera angle than that, folks. That was the way that Daryl Sutter scored the goal.
The offensive hero for the Hawks so far in the playoffs, Daryl Sutter scores his 9th playoff goal. He scored 2 overtime goals against the Minnesota North Stars, and it's 3-1 in favor of the Blackhawks. Coffey, who has been quiet tonight. The shot kicked out by Bannerman and cleared. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second period. Sutter gets it. Savard and Troy Murray the assists at 14:20 of the second period. The score, the Blackhawks 3 and the Oilers 1.
Blackhawks on the bench. We will see it one more time. And watch Sutter. He handled that puck for a fair amount of time behind the net, trying to decide what he wanted to do. That confused Grant Fuhr that much more because Sutter just stayed behind the net for an extra few seconds. Fuhr didn't know which way he was coming out.
The face-off comes out to center ice. Daryl Sutter, not bad for 11th round draft pick, who played 1 year in Japan, 2 years in the American Hockey League before making it to the NHL. Let's go now to Al Trautman.
Al, it sounds like you guys are having a great time up there. At the end of the second period, Don Jackson watching this game for the Edmonton Oilers will be with me in the studio. Then we'll hear the Stanley Cup reflections of Pierre Pilote. All that coming up in the second intermission as we continue tonight live from Chicago on USA. Back to you.
Yeah, they're having a great time down there on the ice with 5 minutes to go in this second period.
Well, we've got another offside as Glenn Anderson, number 9, way over on the right wing side, fell over the blue line, and as a result, the faceoff coming outside the blue, and Daryl Sutter getting a well-deserved rest after that play. We will watch it one more time. You can see that number 28 for the Edmonton Oilers, Larry Melnick, got caught originally trying to go from his left around to the back, and Daryl Sutter, meanwhile, he went around the net and tucked that puck in before Fuhr really could get good firm ground up against that post.
Fuhr thought he was there in time, as Coffey is there in time with Secord bearing down on the puck. Napier And a deflection in the crowd. That just shows the strength of Darryl Sutter. Goaltender really has to jam that blade into the post.
Mark Napier, who was used sparingly and used on mostly the third and fourth line when he came across from the Minnesota North Stars this year, has really gotten himself a pretty regular position on the second line during the course of playoffs for the Oilers, and he has responded by scoring 5 goals, 2 assists so far for 7 points. Mark Napier fits pretty well into the Edmonton style of play. He is speedy, not very big, but can jump into the holes. Mark Messier at center ice. He can feed Napier when Napier's flying.
Murray Bannerman, thankful for Darryl Sutter's goal. It now gives him a little breathing room, a little more. 2-goal lead. On the screen, rejected by Bannerman. Looking for his first win ever in 10 games against the Oilers. And it comes back to the Oiler line. Charlie Huddy, who was signed as a free agent and now a key factor on the Oiler defense. Near steal by Secoy. And Bob Murray just floats it in. 4 minutes left in the second period. 3-1 the Blackhawks leading, looking to bounce back in this best-of-7 series after losing the first 2 in Edmonton. Coffey smashed into the boards by Secoy. Napier shoots it in.
The Blackhawks very conscious right now. They're just playing one man and forechecking and lining up on the blue line, trying to stop the Oilers from being able to carry the puck into the Blackhawk zone.
And some more hitting by Secoy, who pins Pozar up against the Blackhawks bench. Here is Pozar. Krushelnyski cannot hold on. Coffey takes it out of bounds but loses. Sutter battling with Krushelnyski. Gets around Ben Wilson. Krushelnyski right in front. And Savard was there to sweep it away.
Well, that's what can be frustrating about Ben Wilson, because he had plenty of time just to take the body out. Instead, he just sticks his stick out. Krushelnyski almost walked around him.
Sutter fans on it. And it comes back to the Chicago zone. Bob Murray, a 10-year veteran. Savard. Pozar kicks it into the corner to Curry. Curry, who has 5 goals in the first 2 games. And the Hawks have stopped Curry and Gretzky and company here tonight. We hope you're enjoying the Stanley Cup playoffs here on USA Sports. We'll be back in a moment. Plays it out to Olczyk. He golfs it down. 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock here at the Chicago Stadium. Second period of play. It comes all the way down, an icing call against the Blackhawks, which lead 3-1.
Randy Gregg has played pretty steady in the course of playoffs this season, and he is a smart defenseman. Isn't the fastest on his feet, but nevertheless, because he has good height and reach, he can cover a lot of room out there. And he's also pretty valuable to the team, as we've mentioned numerous times when we've seen the Oilers on the USA. The odd time he's stitched up his own players when they have been cut in practice, and he is a medical doctor by profession that practices medicine in the part off-season.
The Chicago Blackhawks responding when Bob Pulford took over early in February. And they are responding tonight against the great one, Wayne Gretzky and his Oilers, after being wrapped around in the first 2 games in Edmonton, being outscored 18-5 in games 1 and 2. Right in front, Bannerman dives, and Olczyk clears. Fewer gobbles it up.
Olczyk continues to try and get in on top of the Oilers, and when you are playing one-man in hockey, that's a little difficult to try and hold back players like Ed Olczyk. Of course, one player is allowed in that system to go in on top, and when Olczyk is out there with his line, he likes to be the first one in on top of the puck. And of course, Murray Bannerman would like to see Ed Olczyk keep the puck down in the Edmonton zone all night long if he could. Right now, Olczyk with Troy Murray the aggressive forechecker himself, and of course Steve Ludzik, number 29 out there.
Ludzik steps in with McClellan, who gets the stick up high. And Troy Murray races back for it. The steal made by Glenn. A minute 45 remaining in the second period. Chased down by Larry Melnick. Olczyk dashing by. And the whistle again against the Hawks as we come all the way back.
Well, here's a man that has been inserted into the lineup and has been surprisingly good. And I shouldn't say that Larry Melnick has not got the capabilities of playing well, but he has not been an expected player, let's say, in the Oilers lineup, but yet Glenn Sather seems to be using him a lot.
Well, let's take a look at the scoreboard in Philadelphia. Flyers holding on to the 3-2 lead. It is now late in the third period. Flyers back home at the Spectrum for game number 3. That series is even at 1 game apiece.
I think Glenn Sather likes inserting players like, or a player like Larry Melnick, because Melnick definitely has lots of NHL experience and playoff experience of that, and so never any harm done by inserting a player as your extra one with all the experience that Larry Melnick has got. And of course, he has toiled for them during the course of the year in spot duty and also with their farm team.
In Philadelphia, 7.5 minutes left. Coffey fires, kicked out by Bannerman, standing tall in goal and holding on to the 3-1 lead. A minute and a half to go in the second period here. Al Albert with Gary Green and Al Trautwig bringing you all the action on USA. Nice move by Anderson to keep it in, but not for long. Lysiak, cross ice to O'Callaghan, or rather to Murray. But the Hawks whistle down for an offside.
There's been a surprising number of offsides in this second period especially, and that really shows you a little bit of lack of discipline on these teams, or else they are trying to attack the net so quickly that they are not really paying much attention to who has possession of the puck. Both teams trying to carry the puck inside the blue rather than just dump and chase, giving it up.
Bob Pulford's Blackhawks keeping the well-oiled machine of Edmonton to just 1 goal in 2 periods of play. We have 1 minute left in this second. The clearing pass out of the stick of Anderson. He is dumped. No call made. Chicago with the puck. Long clearing pass intended for Lysiak. And the Oilers will have a face-off deep in the Chicago end with 46 seconds to go.
Glenn Anderson out there playing with Wayne Gretzky. Anderson took a little bit of a dive right in front of Andy Van Helmond and looked for a penalty to be called, but he wasn't about to get one, and Glenn Sather doesn't look to be too disturbed about that fact either. Off to Glenn Sather's left, you could see John Muckler, who is Glenn Sather's assistant coach.
Gretzky has scored in every playoff game. He scored in the last 28 regular season games, so he has a streak of 37 straight now coming into this one. He holds the longest streak in the NHL history, 51 games that he has scored at least 1 point in a game. 35 seconds to go. Anderson and the Oilers go in offside.
The Oilers really have been guilty far more than the Blackhawks in the offside department. They are trying to get some quick movement along the blue line. It's been made difficult for them, the fact that the Blackhawks have been standing up on that blue. Glenn Anderson trying everything possible to work his way into the Chicago end zone with the puck, but has not been too successful.
Flyers have had another goal in Philadelphia. Brian Propp scoring, and he breaks out of his drought. Had not scored what, 4 or 5 games.
Watch this. Glenn Anderson is lined up back in the blue line, so I can only think that they're going to try and get this draw and dump it in, and Anderson's going to be flying.
33 seconds to go in the second. Coffey loses to Lysiak. He heads in, but the Blackhawks are whistled offside.
I don't think I have seen this many offsides in a hockey game for a long, long time, at least not in one particular period. This time the Blackhawks are guilty. Otherwise, they might have had a pretty good chance to score. Glenn Anderson was back in that position way back behind where normally a defenseman would play, just looking to break out, but the Oilers were not able to get possession of the puck, and instead it was the Blackhawks and Tom Lysiak that could well have taken advantage of the opportunity.
Figure you see something like that in preseason play. But here are the offsides for another reason, not lustiness. Could assure you that. 20 seconds left. And it is Coffey. And this is a delayed offside, no question about that one, as it was deflected into the Oilers zone. Blackhawks still there.
I think just a little bit of over-anxiety on both teams' part right now, trying to get that puck inside the blue. And Glenn Sather, very cool and calm behind the Oiler bench. Again, his team still down 2 goals, and he will have something to talk about in between periods.
Seconds tick away. 5 seconds left in the second period. 2 seconds, 1. And the Hawks go off the ice with another 2-goal lead. Coming up in between periods, Oiler defenseman Don Jackson will be joining Al Trautwig to talk about the Oiler dilemma here in game number 2. After 2 periods of play at the Chicago Stadium, the score, the Blackhawks 3 and the Oilers 1. We'll return with our second intermission right after these words.
Turning you from New York City and Wall Street, where the Chicago Blackhawks lead 3-1. Once again, we're going to show you some Stanley Cup reflections. A great veteran by the name of Pierre Pilote.
The playoff makes you a better hockey player somehow. It happens in junior hockey. It happens in any league or any sport, where you're playing your game, but somehow when you get into a playoff, you somehow, whether you get smarter or something happens to you, but all of a sudden you become a better hockey player for it. You work so hard, and if you're really into it, I was playing 35, 40 minutes a game, and working hard towards winning this thing. And you're not thinking about the good times or how great you're going to feel about it. You know what I mean? You just work, work, work. And then all of a sudden there's a letdown. I remember after, in the dressing room, everybody dispersed, and I was just having a Coke, I think, or a beer. And there's my dad. I'm just thinking about what the heck did I do here, we really had a good series, and I felt proud. But there was no feeling like when you're young, throwing the coach in the shower. I was never that type. If I never show my excitement this way, I go the other way. And the one time we were playing against Detroit, and we were on a power play, and Bobby Hull went around this one guy that was killing penalty for Detroit, and the Detroit player missed Bobby, but he turned around with his stick and he swung and hit Bobby dead on the nose and just smashed it. So his nose just broken in about 20 pieces, and Bobby went down like a big bull. That was right in Chicago. They wheeled Bobby downstairs, and I was getting stitched up for something else, and I looked at him and I said, oh boy, my 10 stitches are nothing compared to what he's got to go through. But anyway, they got the doctor that fixed him up was just leaving for Florida. They just got him, just phoned him at the O'Hare airport, don't get on the plane to Florida, come back to the dressing room. And he fixed up Bobby. Oh, I remember seeing him after the game, and I went into the emergency room, and he must have had 25 little sticks sticking out of his nose. Anyway, 3 days later, Bobby's back on the ice in Detroit, came and played, and I think that night he got 2 goals and 2 assists. I think the greatest series we've ever had, it was always against Montreal Canadiens. Somehow, we had a good club, but when you played against Montreal Canadiens, you seemed to give more somehow. I don't know what it was. First of all, you didn't have to, I'm talking about personally now. You know, your different opposition you play, you look at the players and you say, well, there's 3 or 4 guys there that just want to just hammer you, okay? So consequently, you're looking, you got to make plays and also protect you because they're coming down, because the word was out, get on Pierre quick, you know? So you got to watch that, and you got to be able to maneuver around pretty quick, so you're on the lookout. But in the case of Montreal, it was kind of a free skating type of hockey, you know what I mean? Not, shall we say, dirty hockey, like, you know what I mean, the high stick and anything like this. Oh, there was the odd little fight. But as far as I was concerned, it was strictly skill, like, you know, skating and hitting, and I think it made, between our 2 clubs at least, good hockey.
Those were days that Pierre Pilote loved to talk about, and we were happy to share them with him on USA. 3-1, the Blackhawks lead the Oilers. Yes, it's true. We'll be back for period number 3 to see if they can hold on in a moment on USA.
At the end of 2 periods of play at the Chicago Stadium, it's the Blackhawks 3 and the Oilers 1. The scoring in that second period, Yaroslav Pozar for Edmonton made it a 2-1 hockey game at 11:14, but at 14:20, Daryl Sutter came back, his 9th playoff goal, and that leads the Chicago Blackhawks in that category, and this is how it happened.
Well, you got to realize how difficult it is for Grant Fuhr when a player's behind the net. He just does not know for sure which way he's coming out. Fuhr had it covered well. He had his skates right up almost against the post, but folks, you could see how little room it really takes to tuck that puck in between Grant Fuhr's skate and the goalpost.
Well, Daryl Sutter this year in the playoffs already has 3 game winners, 2 of them in overtime against Minnesota. Now, at the end of this third period, we don't know where that goal will stand, but certainly, if not a game winner, an important goal for the Blackhawks because it had given them that 2-goal cushion, especially after Pozar had scored to make it 2-1.
Now, the biggest question I've got right now coming into this third period are, what are the Chicago Blackhawks going to do? Are they going to play aggressive hockey and attack and try to keep the momentum going, or are they going to lay back and play one-man-in hockey as they did at the end of the second period of play? The Blackhawks haven't played one-man-in hockey too much over the course of this season, and Roger Nielsen pointed that fact out to me just before the game tonight. He said, I don't know how well we can really play that type of hockey, but we're going to have to find out.
They may find out. They may find out it's a mistake. In the second period, the Oilers opened up the cannon. 18 shots on Murray Bannerman, and he was beaten just once. So for 2 periods of play, the Oilers now with 27 shots on goal, the Blackhawks with 24. And a final in Philadelphia. The Flyers have defeated the Quebec Nordiques by the score of 4-2. So the Flyers take a 2-game-to-1 advantage in that series. Game number 4 in Philadelphia on Sunday night, and the Flyers streak continues now 21 straight at the Spectrum.
Well, here in Chicago, we have had excellent goaltending from both Grant Fuhr and Murray Bannerman at the other end. They have been trying to outplay each other in tonight's game and have been doing a pretty darn good job at it.
Will Glenn Sather, along with his assistant coach, John Muckler, on the left, take advantage of the Blackhawks, who seem to be getting tired, especially defensively, in that second period. With Doug Wilson out, with Keith Brown out, Randy Boyd has been dressed for tonight's game, but has seen just 1 shift on a power play. So Bob Pulford is essentially going with 4 defensemen.
And Pulford, on top of that, has Bob Murray hurting a little bit from the shot, I think, that he took off of Paul Coffey's stick, as well as the fact that he does have strep throat coming into this game. So things aren't the greatest for the Blackhawks, but right here in on the scoreboard, they look pretty good.
And that's why that Daryl Sutter goal means more and more for the Blackhawks as we start the third period of play. 3-1, Chicago leads. And it is Napier who plays it behind. Game number 3. The steal by Laziak, unable to get around Lee Fogelin. And he floats it out. The Oilers lead 2-0. Perhaps getting a little ahead of myself. The Blackhawks hope so. And here comes Edmonton. 1 goal in 2 periods. Messier off the screen. Hits the side of the net. As Anderson gets a stick of Ben Wilson across his net. The Oilers have scored 18 goals in the first 2 games. Held to 1 here. And a penalty coming up to Chicago. And that's exactly the way Edmonton wanted to get this 3rd period started.
Ryan Anderson's been trying to draw a penalty all night. I think he's finally successful as Al Secord, number 20, is going to the penalty box, no doubt for interference. And that is not good news for the Blackhawks. The Oilers pretty awesome on the power play. We will see a replay of Al Secord, number 20, in the white, just dumping Glenn Anderson. Anderson going down to the ice. And that gives a power play opportunity. That was a replay from a little while ago when the Oilers, Mark Messier, number 11, had an excellent chance to score there. He saw the room and looked to pick it.
The interference call on Secord at 1:02. So for the 2nd time tonight, the Oilers will have a power play. That's only the 4th penalty called by Andy Van Hellemond. There were no penalties in the 2nd period. Right in front, Curry unable to get the shot off. And that one was whistled down. A hand pass called by referee Andy Van Hellemond. Yeah, the faceoff will come outside the blue line. Jari Kurri along with Krushelnytski and Gretzky up front.
And when you talk about Jari Kurri, you certainly know what an incredible amount of talent this man has within him. Not only because of the number of goals that he scored this season, 71, but the fact that he's not a selfish hockey player the least bit. He and Gretzky work so well together out there, hand in hand.
And there is Jari Kurri, who broke the pinky on his hand, missed 4 of the last 5 games. They have won that goal-scoring title. Coffey. And that one goes high off the glass. 1:20 to go in the Edmonton power play. They trail the Blackhawks by 2 goals. And this is Huddy bringing it in. Sizing up the situation. Curry has Coffey. Back to Curry. Floats it side of the net. Gretzky is covered immediately by O'Callaghan. Curry takes the long look. Gretzky points to Huddy. He fires. Kicked out by Bannerman. And cleared out by Patterson.
You can see what the Blackhawks were doing. They were just aligning in front of Murray Bannerman. A good, sound, disciplined box. They were not forcing the puck the least bit.
And here is Coffey flying. And Gretzky beaten to the puck by Lutzig. Troy Murray circles back for Chicago. 2.5 minutes into the 3rd period.
Now, when the Blackhawks play that way, as any team can play that way in their own end zone when they're killing penalties, fans get really impatient.
Messier trying to beat everybody back. 10 seconds on the power play for Edmonton. It is Melnick. Melnick shot deflects over the head of Bannerman. Raced down by DuPont and kept in. Right in front, the shot, score! As the penalty wound down, the Blackhawks not protecting Bannerman as Messier getting in position in front. And it's 3-2.
The Blackhawks had done such an excellent job during the course when they were killing off that penalty of protecting in front of Bannerman. But this time they were really guilty as they left Mark Messier, wrong guy to leave in front of that net all alone. They left Messier all alone. Bannerman has got to be a little bit frustrated with that lapse in their defensive moves. They'd been playing a good, tight, disciplined box, and then all of a sudden it broke down. Bob Murray went to take the man, and you could see that Mark Messier was left all alone.
Just as Al Secord, you saw number 20, was coming out of the penalty box. Anderson and Napier getting the assists at 3:07 as Messier scores his first goal in the series against the Blackhawks. Sutter with a crowd of Oilers around him. 3-2 now, the Blackhawks with a 1-goal lead. Sutter was standing in the zone, and an offside call against Chicago. Coast-to-coast coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs only on USA Sports. We'll be right back. The face-off outside the Edmonton blue line. 3-2 is the score. The Chicago Blackhawks desperately need the victory here tonight, trailing 2-0. As they hold on to the 1-goal lead. And now it's the Oilers on the offense again. Coffey chasing it back. Coffey hasn't had much room tonight to maneuver.
They've been watching him pretty closely, but he could take off at any time.
Well, he gets that pass up to Curry. Long shot. Rejected by Bannerman. Troy Murray with Gretzky. On him. Coffey can't keep it in. We have played 4 minutes and 10 seconds of this third period of play. The lead pass to Curry. Curry watched by Wilson. And Bannerman almost onto the stick of Gretzky. Coffey has problems. Fraser picks it up. Fraser in front. Olczyk. What a save by Fuhr. He got it with his stick, and he got that one with his glove. He has had 3 miraculous saves. That was the best.
Ed Olczyk, number 16 for the Blackhawks, pretty frustrated right now. He thought he was going to put the Blackhawks ahead by the score of 4-2, but such was not the case. Grant Fuhr just coming up with some more of his great saves. Let's watch Kurt Fraser, number 8, makes the pass over to Olczyk. Now watch this move by Fuhr. He is way out of his net, caught over to his left. Now he's got to come over to his right. That stick right out of the blue, all of a sudden just got a piece of that puck. The puck hits the goal post, and the goal did not exist for Olczyk.
Patterson. And we have a penalty coming up to Edmonton. So just as the Oilers were putting the heat on Chicago, the Blackhawks have now turned it around, and they will have a power play, leading by 1. And we'll be back for that after this.
Goes to number 28 for the Edmonton Oilers, Larry Melnyk. Holding is the call. 4:47 was the time, and you can see number 28, Melnyk, pretty guilty, right in the slot of holding. And now the Blackhawks with a pretty good opportunity on the power play coming up, face-off inside the Edmonton Blue.
The Blackhawks 0 for 2 on the power play tonight, 0 for 8 against the Oilers in this series. There's Randy Boyd, 32. Savoy has trouble with Gretzky. Right in front, Secord. And Gretzky beats him to it and gets it out. Crowd booing, but it was a good call, no question about it, as Bob Murray tried to sneak it back in with that quick stick at the blue line. He knows.
Now, quick stick it was exactly by Bob Murray, but yet Gerard Gauthier, the linesman, right in front of the Edmonton bench, and that's where the offside occurred.
20 seconds gone by, the penalty to Melnyk. We have 14 minutes, 50 seconds left in this third period, as Murray smashes it in and then gets smashed by Messier. Savard up front with Larmer and Secord. So this line is reunited now on the power play. Bob Murray probably will play 40 minutes before this one is over. Shoots it in. Boyd goes in deep. Secord, he is wrapped up, using his strength to try to get away. Here's Boyd. Boyd again, over skates. Boyd stays with it. He saw Secord, but it is smothered by Huddy. Bob Murray has some room across to Savard. Savard sees a man. Larmer back to Murray. He shoots. Comes back to Boyd. 45 seconds to go in the Chicago power play. Trying to get a cushion here, looking for a goal and a 2-goal lead. And it goes all the way down. So we have a face-off deep in the Chicago end.
Number 32, Randy Boyd, under some fair pressure being placed out there on the power play back at the point, and he just made a long pass. He tried to sneak one up to Al Secord, but Secord was positioned almost up at Edmonton's blue line.
There's the arithmetic. Third period, 3-2, the home team, the Chicago Blackhawks. Number 28, Larry Melnick for the visitors. The Oilers in the penalty box for 33 more seconds. Randy Boyd called up with the injuries to the defensive core of the Blackhawks, playing his first playoff game. Played 3 games with the Hawks this season. Oilers just eating up the clock, and then O'Callaghan dives into Hunter. But Hunter doing his job.
Dave Hunter not the least bit disturbed at the fact that Daryl Sutter was hacking away at him and that Jack O'Callaghan came barreling into him. Murray Bannerman just cleaning away the snow in front of his crease. And now the face-off, because Hunter ended up going down on top of that puck and getting the stoppage of play, coming outside the Blackhawks blue.
13 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in this third period. Lysiak leaves, and Troy Murray will take the draw against Yari Curry. 24 seconds for the Blackhawks on the power play. Ben Wilson, the back pass, and now O'Callaghan carries, returns to Wilson. Hawks going nowhere fast. They have had more success on the power play on the road, right in front, because here they get the pressure from the crowd. Ben Wilson, cross ice. Here's O'Callaghan, right in front, and it's blocked by the defense. Penalty is over. Teams at equal strength. 7 minutes in the period 3. O'Callaghan being watched by Curry. Long pass out, and this is Savard breaking in. He scores!
On this one. Nice pass by number 5, Jack O'Callaghan, way up to Dennis Savard, who was right at the center ice face-off dot practically when he received that pass. Look, he goes to his left and to his right and puts it right by Grant Fuhr. Nice move by Savard. Oh, we'll see it from the ultra slow-mo and watch Savard coming in. You can see the little bit of room that Grant Fuhr gave him when he did the splits, and Savard's not going to miss too many times on that one.
Savard from O'Callaghan at 7:07. His first goal against the Oilers in the series. For our local systems, we'll pause now. Stanley Cup on USA. Back in play with 12 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third period, and the Hawks now regain that 2-goal lead. 4-2 on the Savard goal. Savard with a goal and 2 assists tonight.
Well, the Blackhawks have not laid back, as we had questioned coming into this third period. They have really taken the attack, but yet been very cautious back at the blue.
Ben Wilson rounds the net. 4-2, the Blackhawks lead Edmonton, showing that there's still life in the Chicago Blackhawks after they took the beating in games 1 and 2 in Edmonton. But these are the Oilers. Here's Anderson, and he shoots it wide. The Oilers with plenty of time, 11 minutes, 37 seconds. Comes all the way down. Grant Fuhr touches the puck as icing had been waved off. Secord looks in front. Swept away by Messier. And now he's revving it up. 3-on-2. Messier. And a Blackhawk again getting the stick on that.
One area that the Edmonton Oilers never panic in, and that is their need for offense. They just have so much confidence in that department.
Secord being pinched in there, so he'll take the icing. With the score, the Chicago Blackhawks 4, the Edmonton Oilers 2. USA's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage will continue at the Chicago Stadium, and they are loving every minute of it tonight. They came out here in full support of the Blackhawks, who were rubbed around the Edmonton ice for games number 1 and 2. And Bob Pulford and the Hawks have rebounded here in game number 3. Hold on to a 2-goal lead with 11 minutes to go. Mark Messier will face off for the Oilers. The Oilers have also lost Bill Gardner tonight to add to their injury list. Here's Secord chasing. Fogelin takes the body, and Fuhr takes the puck. Kevin Lowe, leap pass to Anderson. Ben Wilson is back. Anderson fakes the shot. As Wilson dives, and they get it out of there. Lowe is checked by Lysiak. Fogelin ahead onto the stick of Messier, who's turned around by Fraser. And now Messier with some room. The poke check, Lysiak. And Olczyk. Olczyk, wrist shot. And Fuhr gobbles that one up.
Fuhr pulled that one out of midair. The shot by number 16 had Olczyk and just smothered him in his chest. Fuhr, even though he's allowed 4 goals tonight, he has made some excellent saves in a goaltender's battle, even though 6 goals have been scored in tonight's game. And Andy Van Helmond hasn't been too busy when it comes to calling penalties in tonight's game so far.
Well, 3 penalties in the first period, 2 penalties in the third. The Edmonton Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks in game number 3. Kept in by Murray and steered aside by Fuhr. Coffey onto the stick of Curry. Right in front. And here's Fraser, one-on-one with Charlie Huddy. Takes the outside route, waiting for help. Troy Murray. And Dave Hunter plays it off the boards for Melnick. 9 minutes, 39 seconds left in period 3. Huddy along the boards. Fans on the pass. Randy Gregg, or rather Melnick, takes it in. And Ben Wilson smothers that. Gregg shoots it in. And O'Callaghan for the Blackhawks. Around the boards. Larmer plays it ahead. So the Hawks now just looking to get the puck out of their zone with a 2-goal lead. 9 minutes to go and a very tired defensive core. For our local systems, we pause now. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs only on USA Sports. We will make our selection of the mobile player of the game for this one, and he will join Al Trautwig at the end of this hockey game. We have 9 minutes to go, and the Hawks leading 4-2. Bob Murray shoots it out. Remember, it's this Blackhawk team that scored 23 goals in 3 games against Detroit in the first series to set an NHL record for a 3-game series. And then the battle to beat Minnesota in 6 games, with the last 3 going to overtime.
And Al, that is the same reason why the Blackhawks will be on pins and needles with only a 2-goal lead against this Edmonton Oilers team. 8:41 remaining, and believe me, that is lots of time for the Edmonton Oilers to even up this match and even win it. They've done it so many times before. Dennis Savard will tell you that, and Murray Bannerman will again tell you the fact that you never count the Edmonton Oilers out, not until the final second has ticked away.
Grant Fuhr undefeated in the playoffs. He has started all 9 for the Edmonton Oilers, and they have won all 9. So that streak right now in jeopardy as the Oilers 1 win away from the playoff streak of 10 in a row in 1 playoff series set by the Boston Bruins back in 1970. Rick Patterson hustles it out. Turned around and decked by Napier. Gregg steps around Secord. Gretzky has been shut out in tonight's game. And an offside against the Oilers.
These two players have stuck pretty close to each other during the course of the game. Mark Messier and Al Secord, and Glenn Anderson utilizing that speed of his, but not being able to break away like he normally has been able to. Talk about speed on a line. Glenn Sather has put together the line of Mark Messier at center ice and Mark Napier on the left side and Glenn Anderson on the right, and that gives Bob Pulford some real headaches, believe me, because that second line of the Oilers is probably one of the fastest lines in the NHL.
Bob Pulford trying to get his point across. Curry has 5 goals in the first 2 games. Anderson has 4. Gretzky with a goal and 6 assists. All 3 have been blanked so far. 8 minutes left in the third period. Randy Gregg back skating. Patterson and Secord forechecking for the Hawks. And this is Messier. Cuts in front of his own goal. Onto the stick of Gregg. As DuPont comes back. DuPont, after giving it away, trying to get the whistle. Secord gets that big skate out there and just gobbles it in. And you really have to give credit to the Blackhawks defensemen here tonight. 4 have gone throughout the course of the game without Wilson and without Brown.
I was talking before about Al Secord and his stick. He has got a very, very big and heavy stick, and that's when Kevin Lowe had made the remark that Al Secord is so strong in the corners, he's tough to defend against, but that stick of his, I don't think that I could even hold that stick up as a player, let alone use it, but Al Secord is just all muscle.
And now it is McClellan with Hughes and Hunter, and we have not seen this line sent out by Glenn Sather that much tonight. Darryl Sutter will take the draw against McClellan. He's with Larmer and Savard. So the Savard line getting untracked here in game number 3. The chase for it, and Lowe got a jump on Savard. Hunter spinning in his own zone. McClellan digging, loose to Larmer. He's held there by Hunter as play continues. Hunter spinning around. And it is whistled down. Offside called against the Blackhawks.
Ben Wilson just fired that puck in, even though he knew it was going to be offside, but not a bad play at that particular time. That's when you don't mind taking offside, because really his forwards were pretty much caught along the boards, and with 7 minutes and 2 seconds remaining, the Blackhawks don't need to take any chances. They'll take as many face-offs and slow this game down as much as they possibly can.
The Blackhawks have made it to the Campbell Conference Finals 3 times in the last 4 years. They have won only 1 game. 82, lost in 5 games to Vancouver, 4 games to 1. In 83, they were swept in 4 games by Edmonton. And now trail this series 2 games to 0. Trying to do something about that tonight. Here is Hughes, who's checked by DuPont. Gretzky flies in for it, puts it in front. But Murray is there, as he has been, a bastion of the defense for the Chicago Blackhawks all night. And this is called down as a stoppage in play as we bring you the Stanley Cup playoffs live coast to coast on USA. 15 to go in the third period. Olczyk busting out for Chicago in a crowd. Club save by Fuhr as he picks it out of the air. Olczyk has had several great opportunities tonight for the Hawks.
Well, he really has, and he has been firing that puck and firing it with some authority. That gave Grant Fuhr a little bit of trouble right after Fuhr had made the save. Then he got knocked by his own player, Jari Kurri. Let's watch as Olczyk just releases that puck. Fuhr makes the diving glove save, and then right after that, he got spun around by Jari Kurri. That doesn't make life any easier.
Well, a programming note, Make Me Laugh, that was scheduled to be seen 11:30 Eastern Time tonight, will not be seen because of the length of this hockey game. And it has been no laughing matter for the Edmonton Oilers, who trail by 2 goals, and time winding down. 6 minutes to go in the third period. Low off the boards for Curry. And Troy Murray slaps it back in. Here's Bob Murray. He has room. Shoots! Olczyk. As it comes out now to center ice.
The Blackhawks, Al, have got to be cautious right now because this is the time in a game when Wayne Gretzky starts sneaking in behind your defense, playing his little moves.
Olczyk runs it down. And here is Gretzky. Picked up by Lowe, looking for Gretzky, but can't get it to him. Lutzig hits the red line, and he floats it back in. 5 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Chicago 4 and Edmonton 2. Messier shoots it in as the Oilers make a change.
Troy Murray won't let Gretzky out of his sight. He's just hanging right with him.
Krushelnyski smothered in front by O'Callaghan. Here's Anderson. Can't get the shot off. And Secord streaking out with help. 3-on-2. Secord, and that one sails into the upper deck. Live Stanley Cup playoff coverage, coast to coast, only on USA Sports. We'll be right back. Third period, 4:46. 4-2, the Blackhawks lead it. That's the popular score tonight. Philadelphia beat Quebec by that count. Secord gets it back. And here's a break. Anderson, Bannerman comes out.
Oh, big move by Bannerman. That was really gambling, but his timing couldn't have been better.
As the crowd rises, and a standing ovation for Murray Bannerman.
You know, as a goaltender against the Edmonton Oilers, when you're facing them, you are so reluctant to come out of your net because of their tremendous speed against you. But Bannerman just timed that one perfectly, took the puck away from Anderson, and made himself a very popular man here at Chicago Stadium.
So the crowd responds for Bannerman, the hero here in Chicago, the workhorse who played 60 games during the regular season, has started every game in goal in the playoffs for the Hawks. Melnick unable to get the shot off. Melnick kicking and scratching at the puck. Here is Anderson, and he is nailed by Secord. Taken off by the Hawks' Laziak, and the Blackhawks just ripping it down and getting the pressure off, getting the puck out of their zone. 4 minutes and 11 seconds to go.
Well, as you look at number 28, Larry Melnick, right now the Blackhawks, even if it means taking a face-off in their own end zone, they will do that versus allowing the Oilers much time with possession of that puck inside the Blackhawks blue. Glenn Anderson still a little bit frustrated of not being able to get too open in tonight's game, and Al Secord, well, he's pretty much contained Mark Messier throughout this hockey game so far tonight.
One-time 50-goal scorer last couple of seasons. Secord bothered by several injuries, groin injury, a stomach injury. And he is in full stride here tonight.
You'd have to say the best coverage job so far, no question, has been Troy Murray on Wayne Gretzky tonight. Messier has picked up 1 goal in tonight's contest, but Secord's done a pretty good job against it, considering Secord's a winger and Messier is a center iceman.
And again, the Blackhawks trade, getting it out of the zone for the faceoff. Also, it just gives them, Gary, precious seconds to rest. The defensive core, 4 men have gone all night. In O'Callaghan and Murray, DuPont, and Ben Wilson. Mark Bergevin is dressed. We have seen very little of him.
Well, Bergevin unfortunately gave away a puck in his own end zone that caused an Edmonton goal, so I think with his inexperience, he wasn't going to see much more ice time after that.
And also Randy Boyd, who is dressed, and he's made cameo appearances on the point on the power play. Fraser sneaks in, can't get it out. And a souvenir.
One thing right now for the Blackhawks, strength along the boards is crucial. You have to win those battles along the boards, in the corners, and that is when you have to come up with that little bit of extra strength. Bob Pulford will be choosing his personnel very closely carefully and wisely right now with 3 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in this third period. 4-2 the score, but once again, we have to say, never out of danger when you're facing the Edmonton Oilers and this scoring machine.
The Blackhawks have lost Bill Gardner, their versatile forward, with a severely sprained knee when he was hit in the first period by Yaroslav Pozar. So he joins the injured list. Doug Wilson with a groin injury and Keith Brown with a hip pointer. And the Hawks really do not know whether they'll be returning for Game 4 on Sunday. Huddy, 22, slaps at it. And offside against the Oilers. I think we've set a playoff record for offsides in tonight's game. 3.5 minutes, 3:28 to be exact, in this third.
Well, not many penalties, but a lot of offsides. And as this game winds down, if the Chicago Blackhawks, with their disabled list being what it is, are able to win this game, you have to give them a round of applause because they have really made a remarkable comeback after losing the first 2 games in Edmonton rather significantly.
Kevin Lowe goes back with Patterson on him. Huddy quickly stolen by Lysiak. Huddy tries again. Messier puts on the brakes. Looks cross ice. He has a man. But Lowe unable to hold on. Comes to the point. Huddy fires. Blocked by Patterson. And he clears. 3 minutes left. And the icing again on the Chicago Blackhawks. 2:58 to go. Let's go to Al Trautwig.
Well, Al, no doubt about it, the next few minutes should be quite frantic, but we're looking ahead to the end of the game when our mobile player of the game visits in the studio. Now, right now, the Chicago Blackhawks have the edge in candidates. Murray Bannerman, with that save a few moments ago, recapturing some of the inner peace that was disturbed when the Oilers shelled him but good up at the Northlands Coliseum. So he is one of our candidates. After that, Dennis Savard with that brilliant goal earlier in the game. And for Edmonton, you really have to consider Grant Fuhr. It's rare a goalie gives up 4 goals and stars. But in tonight's game, you'd have to say Grant Fuhr has been outstanding in goal for the Oilers. Back to you and Gary.
Grant Fuhr, who was the first star in the game in each of the first 4 playoff games for the Oilers.
Well, just a little bit of face-off interference, and you can see that
Ray Slampanello
sticks up a little bit high.
Pretty close to the face of the veteran linesman. Sorting things now on the face-off to the right of Bannerman. Olczyk facing off for the Hawks, and Krushelnyski taking the draw for Edmonton. Olczyk is removed, and Troy Murray goes in. Bob Murray floats it out. Fraser steals. Takes a run at Melnick. And Murray spots it back in. Here's Olczyk. Right in front. Melnick tied up with Fraser.
And Olczyk has played a heck of a game for the Blackhawks tonight. It's nice to have youth and enthusiasm like he's got.
And Randy Gregg sends it in. Kevin Lowe, he has some time. 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Here's a break for Chicago. Troy Murray, 3-on-2. Block, rebound, and he slides it wide. Lowe with a helmet right in the way, but able to get that puck out. 2 minutes left. 2-goal lead for the Blackhawks. Here is Huddy. Slapper. Rebound. Curry and Gretzky missing. And Fraser gets it out.
Just get it outside the blue. That's all the Blackhawks have to do right now.
1:35 left. Murray goes back. And for those tired Blackhawk legs, certainly a surge of energy here in the closing minutes. 1:23 to go. And an icing is cheered with a standing ovation from the crowd.
I think these fans realize how tired the Blackhawks must be right now. And again, we will allude to the fact that without speedy players like Keith Brown and Doug Wilson, especially back in the blue line, the Blackhawks have really made up for it a couple of times over tonight.
Gary, did it ever occur to you that Edmonton, after outscoring Chicago 18-5 in the first two games, may have come in here suffering a little bit of a letdown?
Well, that is possible, and as we watch some more action, Kurt Fraser, number 8, gets an opportunity to take that puck, and then Olczyk coming in doing some of his fine body checking that he's doing. But I think you bring up a good point that maybe the Oilers just felt it was going to be a little bit too easy. Right now, a timeout has been called. And maybe, Al, they used up all of their goals, because it's very rare that you're going to get 18 goals scored for you by your team in playoffs in only 2 games.
These are the 2 highest scoring teams in the playoffs. The Oilers have been averaging just under 6 goals a game, and Chicago 5.5 goals per hockey game. And Bob Pulford looking for this one to end, and then we'll start looking ahead and wondering about his injured players, whether they could be lifted by this victory and return for Game 4 Sunday night.
Well, Ed Olczyk's been lifted, but this is where you've got to give coaches a lot of credit, because Bob Pulford came in here tonight. He gave his team a game plan, and they have followed it to the T. He has made sure of that. But just a couple of things that have made a big difference in tonight's hockey game. Troy Murray being on Wayne Gretzky, Al Secord being out on the ice every single time that the Edmonton Oilers had Mark Messier out there. And thirdly, the fact that Dennis Savard's line was able to get out there against Krushelnyski's line or Pozar's line, the third or fourth line for the Edmonton Oilers. And that forced the Oilers really to come down to utilizing just 2 lines for a pretty big part of tonight's game.
And the Blackhawks could not ask for better scheduling. They'll have 2 days off before game number 4. Grant Fuhr is out of his goal, so the Edmonton Oilers have an extra attacker down by 2 with 1:23 seconds left. Curry, Anderson, Napier, Gretzky, all there as Fuhr has a seat on the bench. Look at the firepower that Bannerman's going up against. Krushelnyski on the faceoff. Bannerman with a good stick clears it out. Troy Murray scores!
To throw that puck out of the zone, and he gets an assist as that puck is put nicely where no goaltender was. Troy Murray just feeds the puck into the empty net. And Al, I guess it's pretty safe now to say that the Chicago Blackhawks are going to be able to protect this lead finally. I don't think even the Edmonton Oilers can come back with 1 minute and 16 seconds and catch the Blackhawks now. The crowd getting louder and louder, especially when the name Bannerman was mentioned for the assist. One of the real terrific stickmen in net in the National Hockey League. Sometimes serves as a third defenseman. Sometimes could give Bob Pulford even more gray hairs. But he gets that shot out right on the stick of Troy Murray, and he gets the assist. The time 18:44. And now Sather puts McClellan out with just about a minute to go to stir things up. Well, the faceoff is going to come all the way back into Edmonton's end zone. And this will give the Blackhawks finally an opportunity not to face the pressures of winning such an important draw in their own end zone. Right now, they just have to be a pretty pleased bunch of guys with a 3-goal lead, and you can see Glenn Sather behind the Oilers bench, and I don't know whether or not Sather expected the Blackhawks to come back with as big a fight as they did here at the Chicago Stadium tonight.
Especially with all the injuries. They've added an assist to Lysiak on the goal. Well, Well, the fans here remember bitterly 2 seasons ago in the conference championship when the Oilers danced by the Blackhawks, sweeping them in 4. Not this time, say the fans, as the Hawks respond here in game number 3 and lead it by the score of 5-2. A minute 4 remaining. Grant Fuhr back in his net. Although he is beaten for the first time in the playoffs, played one of his better playoff games. He has had a highlight reel full of spectacular saves tonight. Here's McClellan, and Bannerman stands up to that one. Lysiak clears it out with 50 seconds to go. As this crowd ready to erupt for a final time tonight. Here's McClellan walking in, the backhand, smothered by Bannerman.
Well, Bannerman's doing the job. Keep doing it right down to the very last second as ticked away, and that will frustrate the Edmonton Oilers and give them something to think about for game number 4.
It is deafening here at the Chicago Stadium. The crowd cheering their Hawks to the effort here tonight. Not dying, not wilting at the hands of the Stanley Cup champion Oilers, but coming back strong on their home ice and pulling to within 2 games to 1 going into the 4th game Sunday. Fans never quit on the Hawks, and the Hawks never quit on their fans. 31 seconds. Again, the jockeying for position. Lysiak, with great eyes, seeing something on the ice. McClellan. Low. It is blocked. And here's Lysiak heading out. So the Hawks have shut out Wayne Gretzky tonight. No points in this game after he had scored in 9 straight playoff games and 28 straight regular season games leading to the playoffs. 37 straight scoring streak for Gretzky's snap. 3 seconds. And we'll go one more time for a faceoff. Everybody standing at the Chicago Stadium and along the bench of the Blackhawks, patting one another on the back, maybe even surprising themselves.
Well, you've got to give this team a lot of credit. After having their noses rubbed in it pretty good in Edmonton, they have come back with an amazing effort.
And the Chicago Stadium explodes with noise. The Blackhawks are back in business.
I think the crowd pretty much says it all, Al.
Down 2 games to nothing. Buried in Edmonton. They come back. An injured team. Key players are out with injuries, including Doug Wilson. And the Hawks hope that he is ready to return for game number 4.
Now, let's remember that there are 3 nights off before Sunday comes, so that could make a big difference to Doug Wilson and Keith Brown.
Edmonton outshoots Chicago 35-33, and coming up, our mobile player of the game will be joining Al Trautwig. The final score, Chicago 5, Edmonton 2, as the Blackhawks move to within 1 game of the Oilers.
Chicago, the sounds of the cheers still ringing in the ears of the Edmonton Oilers as the Blackhawks delight the home crowd 5-2, and it is an Oiler lead still in this Campbell Conference Final 2 games to 1. But my goodness, what a turnaround. In the 3rd period, Mark Messier made it 3-2. Anderson and Napier the assists at 3:07. Then at 7:07, only 4 minutes later, Dennis Savard gave Chicago a still 2-goal cushion, 4-2. O'Callaghan the assist. And then Murray Bannerman bounced one off the boards to a streaking Troy Murray at 18:44. And Murray, who was absolutely outstanding tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks, is our mobile player of the game. Murray, many exciting moments. My best, my favorite for you was the breakaway, or almost breakaway. You come charging out of the net and poke that puck away.
Well, it was one of those things where our defenseman and Glenn Anderson, I believe it was, poked at it, and it just bounced a little farther than he wanted to, and I I felt that I could beat him to the puck. You know, he wasn't going as fast as I thought he was at first, so I went out and got the stick on it, and fortunately I was able to get the angle over to where Al Secord was, and he could get it out. You know, it's a judgment, and I really felt that I could beat him there, and fortunately I did.
Now, Murray, I'm not rooting. I don't want you to get me wrong, but I certainly think the Blackhawks are a better team, and you didn't deserve to give up as many goals as you did and take the beating you did in Edmonton. You must really feel deep down like you've proven yourself and gotten back.
Well, this is a big monkey off my back. This is the first time I've ever beaten this club. And I have to give everybody in our dressing room a lot of credit, from the coaching staff right through to every player that played tonight, because everybody did a super job. You know, we were a little mad, especially over the first game. In the second game, we felt we deserved a little better. We had some good chances and couldn't score. And Fuhrer again played super tonight, but tonight we managed to keep our composure and do the right things defensively. The back checking was super. You know, we only went with 4 defensemen because of injuries, and those guys all played great. So it's a big win for us, you know. 2-1 now, and now anything can happen. Maybe they got to be thinking a little bit. You know, after the first 2 games, I'm sure they were probably figuring that, you know, hey, it looks like we got another sweep going here. But, you know, we show a lot of character, and I think we'll continue to do so.
All right, Murray, great. Thanks very much. The Chicago Blackhawks playing very, very well tonight when you consider they were without Keith Brown, Doug Wilson, and Billy Gardner. Our mobile player of the game, Murray Bannerman, will receive a beautiful analog digital quartz chronograph watch from Loris Quartz Watches and Clocks, and a handsome Finish Line ski jacket from the Toyota line of genuine Toyota sportswear. When we come back on USA, we'll wrap it up from Chicago Stadium. The Hawks, big winners tonight, 5-2 over Edmonton. We knew the Hawks would never be safe until the scoreboard said 0-0-0, and so it does right now, and so they're safe. 5-2, the final score here. In Philadelphia tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers defeat the Quebec Nordiques by a score of 4-2 to go up in that series 2-1. The Stanley Cup playoffs on USA have been brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer, who invite you to drive the new Ford Escort. Have you driven a Ford lately? By the Stroh Brewery Company, makers of Stroh's, Old Milwaukee, and other fine beers. By Mobil 1 Synthetic Motor Oil. You can't buy better engine protection. By Emery Worldwide, for any size, any weight, and any value shipment anywhere in the world. Call Emery, and it's as good as there. And by Toyota's exciting cars and trucks for 1985. Toyota invites you to see them at your local dealer. Sunday night, it'll be Game 4 of this Campbell Conference Championship, and we will be right back here at Chicago Stadium. And if you thought it was loud tonight, wait till Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on USA. Until then, for Al Albert and Gary Green, I'm Al Trautwig saying good night from the Windy City. Murray Bannerman, the hero. The executive producer of USA Sports is Jim Drake. Tonight's game was produced by Mark D. Solberger and directed by the Canadian cowboy Ron Harrison. Our associate producers, Tim Rapley at the USA Broadcast Center and Stephen Fetter here in Chicago. USA Sports production coordinator is Barbara Travers. The Stanley Cup playoffs are a presentation of USA Sports. Who played so well during the regular season and through the playoffs has a bad knee, a knee bad enough to prevent you from playing tonight.
Yeah, I took a hard shot on it up in Quebec there, and now the other night, the last game in the second period, I took another one on exactly the same spot, and it's pretty sore right now, so I don't think I could play.
Kelly, you played more than 80 games. Some people would say that's too much for a goaltender. How do you feel?
No, I really like to play a lot because that keeps me sharp. Last year I only played 36 games and I had a bad year, so I think it proves that if I play a lot, I play a lot better, and I feel more confident when I play every night, so I think it's been good for me.
Are you at all surprised at how explosive, how miraculous at times the Oiler offense has been, especially tonight in that first period? Some of the passing was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, Gretzky and all those guys, they're, especially now when I sit up there and watch their play develop, you know, they're unbelievable. I can't really believe it. There can't be any better team in the world right now. I don't think even the Russian can come close when they start to play like this. So, you know, to Bob Fruiter, it's not much you can do about it. They're so good in front of the net, and they just put the puck in the net all the time. So.
Kelly, the Oilers went to the final, of course, the very first time and lost to the Islanders. They say they learned a tremendous amount from that first final. Do you think the Flyers are learning an awful lot from this appearance, and perhaps next year we'll use it?
I think so, because we have a really young team, and just to be up in the final the first year like this, it's a really good experience for us. And, you know, we have guys who are 19 years old, and this is going to be good for us. Maybe next year we'll hopefully be here again, and then we try to beat them here.
Pelle, you told me a few minutes ago you're a realist. How shocked would you be if the Flyers come back to win this game?
Well, I think it's going to be really tough right now. I mean, you know, it's hockey, but 4-1 in their own building, and they're up 3 games to 1. It's going to be awfully tough, but you never know in hockey. But like I said, something really strange is going to happen if it's going to turn this around tonight, I think.
Pelle, you've given us an awful lot to be excited about this year. Some of your saves were just great to watch. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Pelle Lindbergh, in a difficult position. We're happy he could join us in between periods. For being our guest, he will receive a handsome V-neck pullover sweater from Toyota Line's fine line of genuine Toyota sportswear. Our guest has been Pelle Lindbergh, who for so many games was a star for the Philadelphia.
Coming down. There has been no change in the condition of Philadelphia Flyers goalie Pelle Lindbergh. Only a respirator prevents him from being declared clinically dead following an auto accident early Sunday morning in New Jersey. Doctors have given no hope of recovery, only probable cause for the accident, as Mike Forrest reports.
There's no question that the crash that has all but claimed Pelle Lindbergh's life was alcohol-related. During a briefing at JFK Hospital in Stratford, New Jersey this morning, team doctor Edward Viner confirmed that a high content of alcohol has been found in Lindbergh's blood.
The blood level was too high. It was 0.24, which is a significant alcohol level.
And as for Pelle Lindbergh's present condition, there's not much change.
Further studies this morning confirm the fact that he remains brain dead, as we found him yesterday, and that the prognosis continues to be incompatible with life, and it really is basically a matter of how long the support system is continued.
While the news briefing was taking place, the team was taking the ice for the first time since the accident. Coach Mike Keenan started with the team gathering. So life and hockey practice do continue for the Philadelphia Flyers, though it continues with only one goaltender today. That's Bob Froese behind me. The net at the other end of the rink is empty. The practice only lasted an hour. They don't play a game until the Edmonton Oilers come into Philadelphia on Thursday night. When practice ended, we talked with some of the players, including Lindbergh's best friend on the team, fellow Swede Tomas Eriksson.
I don't think Pelle would have liked us to just quit. He always tried to look at the positive side of all things, and I think he would have liked us just to play on.
I don't think anybody wanted to lead us through the door today to come out here. But this atmosphere we grew to know and love Pelle in and came together as a group in, so it was probably the best thing today was get back at it. No matter if you didn't like it or you liked it, it was something you had to do and get through it.
I think that we're all old enough and all understand that this is an occupation, and this is a job, and we have to perform the best of our ability. And as far as our personal life, and our personal acquaintances and loves, as far as Pelle goes, we have to be able to put that aside and go do our job and show our grief in our times when we can be alone or be away from the rink.
So the message from the players is very clear. We will grieve in private, but life and hockey must go on. In Voorhees, New Jersey, Mike Forrest for ESPN.
In a Las Vegas hospital, former Toronto Maple Leaf and Buffalo Sabre general manager Punch Imlach is resting, having suffered his 4th heart attack in a casino last Saturday night. The 67-year-old Imlach has been retired for 4 years. He complained of dizziness and collapsed Saturday evening and was rushed to the hospital. Doctors there say his condition tonight is satisfactory.
So they look anything but marvelous. Let's go to the lowlights, because the Bulls just didn't have it together tonight. And you know why? Very simple. Michael Jordan, there in overtime. Elsewhere in the NHL, former Philadelphia goaltender Pelle Lindbergh declared officially dead tonight. His vital organs were removed for future transplants. Lindbergh was declared brain dead Monday morning after suffering a tragic car crash in New Jersey. His family decided this morning to turn off the respirator that had been keeping him legally alive. Back here in Chicago, the demise of the Honey Bears is certainly not tragic, but it is disheartening.
Today, they then approved the removal and donation of his vital organs for transplant purposes. That operation took place this evening. We'll have the full story and a look back at one of the NHL's bright young stars and what he meant to his team, the game, and his community, coming up on the SportsCenter.
Gardner, along with Greg Gumbel. David Sullivan will be joining us shortly. The vigil has ended in a Stratford, New Jersey hospital for friends and relatives of Pelle Lindbergh.
Kept alive with no hope for survival since early Sunday morning, the Philadelphia Flyers goalie died this evening. Doctors had declared Lindbergh brain dead since the auto accident Sunday morning. Only a respirator kept him alive technically until his parents arrived. And along with Lindbergh's fiancée, they gave their approval to donate the 26-year-old Lindbergh's vital organs and to disconnect the respirator.
The family wants to try to help others and make whatever little good can come of this terrible tragedy, and hopefully Pelle's ultimate save might be to save some other people. I'd like to also make a plea at this time that the family wants and needs privacy, and if we again can think in terms of the concept that he really died Sunday morning and that all of this is in a sense after the fact, maybe we can not have the moment of this transplantation issue and the harvesting of the organs not be a public spectacle, and we're all concerned about that.
It is obvious Dr. Viner wanted to ensure the privacy surrounding the dispersal of his organs, and the team president asked the same for Pelle's family.
It's very important that the family have privacy and have the ability to walk in and out of this hospital quietly. It's also very important for us as a team, for our players, because we've gone through a lot and we're continuing to go through a lot, and at this point we need to get back to normal business.
The Flyers are next scheduled to play Thursday against the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers coach Glenn Sather offered to postpone the game, but the Flyers chose not to, opting for a memorial service prior to the game.
We just didn't feel that by prolonging what we have to go through is going to change the fact of what happened. We feel that we better deal with it right now, and the sooner we learn to handle it and live with it, then the better off we're going to be.
The Lindbergh tragedy has been heavily covered by the media across this country, but even more so in Lindbergh's home of Sweden.
He's really here in Sweden, and he was known as a real great guy, a friendly guy that always took care of his teammates and the fans and everybody. He was really a nice guy.
For those who didn't know or know of Pelle Lindbergh, his life will be remembered as one as having ended by the deadly combination of drinking and driving. That one thought will be his legacy in the minds of many people, but for those whose lives this decent and talented man touched, it will be another story, as Bob Bradley eloquently explained.
He was a sensation from the start, making the rookie all-star team, mastering the mature hockey veterans on the ice, while mastering the English language at the same time, handling all pressures with charm and ease. Well, the next year, Pelle and the team played well during the season, but were blitzed in the playoffs, and disappointment ran deep. And then last year, all the parts were working, with the Flyers turning in the best record in the league, thanks to Pelle Lindbergh, their most valuable player. They beat the playoff jinx, went to the Stanley Cup final, and Lindbergh posted a record of 40 victories, tops in the league. Pelle was at a personal pinnacle. At the season's end, he was awarded the Vezina Trophy, emblematic of the best goalie in the game.
First of all, I want to thank my teammates. Without them, this wouldn't be possible.
And at age 26, his years of greatness still lay ahead. The game has lost one of its most lustrous stars, but we have all lost the personal presence of a delightful, happy-go-lucky friend who will never be in our midst again. The Flyer family, a close-knit group, has been devastated.
Pelle Lindbergh will be buried in his homeland of Sweden. An outstanding young man and athlete, and the sports world could use more like him. A bit later, we will have highlights of the Washington Capitals' victory over Edmonton tonight.
Up next, the Knicks win one.
Following the death of Pelle Lindbergh. We'll have NBA highlights.
This evening, while fans saluted one hero who is gone, they may have found another.
Yeah, Darren Jensen played a heck of a game in the Nets, but what an atmosphere tonight in Philadelphia, Greg. Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers played their first home game since the death of their goalie, Pelle Lindbergh, and to say that the emotion was high in the spectrum would be an understatement of major proportions. It only added to the atmosphere that in town were the Edmonton Oilers to reenact the Stanley Cup Finals of last spring. First and foremost on everybody's mind was the fallen Lindbergh, who was fondly remembered in the aptly nicknamed City of Brotherly Love. Perhaps no member of the Flyers family was closer to Lindbergh than goalie coach and former Philly netminder Bertie Parent, who gave a moving eulogy.
The paper has said I was his hero. I wish I could tell you how much I admired him. I wish I could have only told him this. Told him how much I admired him, how much I cared about him.
And the singing of the Swedish national anthem. Then they played hockey. In the third period, it was the Flyers who came out buzzing, tied at 1, but not for long. Ilkka Sinisalo on the power play beats Andy Mogan. It's 2-1. Flyers add to the lead. They win the draw. Brian Propp swoops in with a blast that beats Moog on the glove side to make it 3-1 Philly. Edmonton mounting a comeback. You knew they would. Gretzky to Curry. Back to Gretzky. Wayne Coffey with the Canadian blast. Paul Coffey, he scores, beating Darren Jensen 3-2. Flyers on the attack again, though. Rich Sutter with a nice move. In on Moog. Deeks shoots. And he made no mistake. 4-2 Flyers. Here comes Edmonton one more time, though. Kevin Lowe has it in front to number 11, Mark Messier, perched, and he roots it. It's 4-3 Philadelphia with 8 minutes to go. But the Flyers, with heavy, heavy hearts and light skates tonight, get some insurance. Rich Sutter to Brad McCrimmon to score. And the Spectrum erupted as the Flyers at a 5-3. How good was Darren Jensen? Robs Wayne Gretzky right here with a left pad save, and the Flyers clear the zone. As the game ended, the Flyers mobbed Darren Jensen afterwards, the rookie up from the American Hockey League, rookie who played college hockey at North Dakota. Philadelphia has won their 11th straight game, and they win it 5-3. One of the things that Perrant said was that a goalie lives on a very lonely island, and I was very happy to be able to share it with Pelle Lindbergh. Very moving night in Philadelphia as the Flyers win, thinking of Lindbergh, and they beat the defending champions.
Nice touch in that game, too, Chris. The Edmonton Oilers wearing the black band on their sleeves, paying tribute as well to Pelle Lindbergh. Good hockey game in St. Louis tonight between the Blues and the Quebec Nordiques. St. Louis pulled off a come-from-behind effort to take the lead in the Norris Division and keep the Nordiques behind Boston and Buffalo in the Atom. The Blues, 5-3 winners. First period, Nordiques with a 1-0 lead. Dale Hunter dumping the puck into the corner. Watch Mark Kumpel pick it up in center to Michel Goulet all alone. Easy goal, his 11th of the year. Nordiques lead at 2-0. Goalie Richard Sevigny injured in the game on this play in the second period. After he makes a couple of saves, watch him go down hard on his left hand. Trainer came out to have a look at that hand. Sevigny did have to leave the game. He may have fractured that left hand. We'll know for sure tomorrow. Late second period, 3-1 Quebec Blues on the power play. Rob Ramage lets it go. Mario Gosselin saved. Joey Mullen there for the rebound, and it's 3-2 Nordiques. Early in the third period, the Blues dump the puck into the corner. Dave Barr hustling to it. Centers out to Mark Hunter. Easy goal. Game is tied at 3-3. And just 1 minute later, Craig Paslowski is stopped by Mario Gosselin. Doug Gilmore will be right there for the rebound to put it into the net for his 6th goal. 4-3 Blues. They added another. The final score, St. Louis 5 and the Quebec Nordiques 3. Meanwhile, in Toronto, yeah, they'll take a tie. The Leafs trailing into the third period. Got 3 goals from Rick Vive in the third. His 9th, 10th, and 11th of the year. They went to overtime. That's the way it stayed. The Bruins 6, the Leafs 6. Toronto now 1-12-3 on the year.
A trade of goalies tonight in the NHL. The Flyers are not involved. 2 good goalies with 2 good teams are changing zip codes. The Boston Bruins had sent Pete Peters to Washington in exchange for Pat Riggin. Both have had standout seasons in the past in the NHL, but both had slipped so far this year, compiling goals against averages in the high 3s.
We'll make the NBA rounds next. Scores and highlights of tonight's pro hoop game.
And also in the NBA, the Sixers have filled in